Thanks for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. All right, to the papers right away, starting off with the Nation newspaper, where the big story reads, tax reform bills, Senate executive in bid for consensus as organized private sector tax experts. Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos are quoted as saying the reform is a necessity. In other stories, 61 aircraft to join Nigeria Air Force fleet next year. Air Chief is quoted as saying it's our golden era. South Africa targets Nigerian lithium for e-vehicle revolution. And CBN explains extension of early exit plan to all workers. Leadership now. CSO's kick as FG blames opposition on ignorance. This is also regarding the tax reform bills. A Senate suspends legislation to meet presidential team. No staff forced on early retirement, says CBN. Senate tasks security agencies on arms proliferation. UNICEF lost Jigawa's 30% budget allocation to education. And manufacturers' economic confidence index drops in Q3 of the year. Daily Trust now. Senate AGF to review tax reform bills this Thursday. Public hearing suspended indefinitely. New committee, an aberration. That's yet another reaction. Lakurawa responsible for Zamfara explosion. That's also here captured on the front page of Daily Trust. How tax reform bills put Barao on the spot. 12 burned to death in Yobe Road accident. And FG declares special end-of-year train services for Nigerians. Daily Independent now. Senate raises committee to meet FG delegation over grey area. Says it will not allow bills to aggravate country's problems. Nigeria, other African airlines climbed 10.4% in passenger travel in October this year. Court remands Dele Farotimi for allegedly defaming Afe Babalola. CBN dismisses forced retirement claim, says staff exit voluntary. On Benue killings, Senate calls for restriction of cattle movement nationwide. New Telegraph is next. Senate buckles, suspends hearing on controversial tax reforms bills, resolves to hold wider consultation. Right, another story here. Nigeria open for business with South Africa, says Tinubu, of course, in the light of his official visit, a state visit that is to South Africa. Nigeria debt stock inches to 140 trillion naira, defies global decline. Oburewori, governor of Delta State, signs Delta's 979.2 billion naira appropriation bill. French PM Michel Barnier ousted in no confidence vote. Let's check out Silent Times now. Senate sets subcommittee to review tax reform bills with Attorney General of the Federation. The Nigeria National Orientation Agency also says that the bill will lessen burden of hardworking Nigerians. Google, Meta, X, others paid 2.55 trillion naira taxes to FG in 6 months, NITDA says. FG declares special end-of-year train services. South Africa eyes Nigeria's lithium for electric vehicles. JTF uncovers graves of victims buried by ESN members in Imo State. Sex workers accuse Kai Neighborhood Watch of indiscriminate arrest and extortion. That's all on the Silent Times. Finally, with me is Daily Times. Senate bows to pressure, suspends further action on tax reform bills. Constitute committee to meet presidential team this Thursday. UK to deport Nigerian pastor Toby Adegboyega. Nigeria, South Africa launch advisory council to boost trade and investment. And regarding Benue killings, reduce proliferation of small arms, Senate urges security agencies. Ibrahim.
Nigeria News Direct is with me here. Tax reform bill, Senate suspends reading, constitutes ad hoc committee with AGF. NCDMB, BOI review agreement on 15 billion naira community contractor fund. You see that on page 3. Investments and Securities Bill scales Senate reading. 2025, Abiodun's 1.055 trillion naira budget targets road, rail infrastructure. Next is Blueprint newspaper. Zamfara, 10 on board golf car killed in bridge bomb explosion. Gunmen abduct councillor, 8 others in Kogi community. $1.045 billion committed to education infrastructure in FCT. That's according to Wiki. Tax reform bills, judiciary to the rescue as Senate halts action, meets presidential delegation. Reforms urgent to address struggles of Nigerians. Now, reps demand 100% budget increase for tobacco control fund. CBN clears air on staff early exit exercise. ACF lifts suspension order on chairman Usman. Now, CP orders investigation of ex-Edo NLC chair's death at checkpoint. Kwara demotes, transfers erring teacher for assaulting corps member. Osime won't be forced out of Galatasaray. Next, on the bottom strip, for collecting burial levies, tissue papers, Anambra demotes 6 head teachers. Next is First News newspaper. Farotimi remanded. NBA fumes, condemns gross abuse of justice. Rights groups warn of escalating intimidation against critics. Obedient movements threatens nationwide protests. Now, CBN denies compulsory retirement. Allocate 50 billion naira for voluntary exits. Kwara demotes transfers teacher over assault on corps members or corps member. Hookup culture driving surge in ritual killings. That's according to police. Senate summons Keyamo Airlines over persistent flight delays. Senate forms committee to address controversies in tax reform bills. PSC chair warns against bribery in police academy, the academy admission process. Next is This Nigeria. Bank customers groan over inability to withdraw cash at counters. Seek punishment for erring banks and rights violation. CBN, FCCPC pledge to investigate, bring perpetrators to book. FCTA commits $1.045 billion to enhance education infrastructure, installs street lights on rural roads to improve security. Senate suspends public hearing on tax reform bills. Meets Attorney General Friday to address areas of concern. Summons Kiyamo, others over flight delays, cancellations. And on the ear of the newspaper, South Africa eyes Nigeria's lithium for electric vehicle revolution. Next is Platform Times. Nigerian postgraduate students blow whistle on corruption, harassment scandals. Dangote Sugar's $700 million investment transforming job creation in Nigeria. That's according to NDE. NDLEA arrests 14,480 suspects, seizes 2.4 million kilograms of drugs in 10 months. How ex-Kwara Governor Ahmed allegedly misappropriated 5 billion naira UBEC fund. That's according to witness. Abiodun to fund 2025 1 trillion naira appropriation bill with 472.66 billion naira loans and grants. Others. Police flee as ex-NLC chairperson slumps, dies during alleged dispute over vehicle particulars. Borno retiree wins 20 million naira in First Ladies hashtag every home a garden competition. Court jails couple 10 years after 5.2 million naira church fraud. Or is it 52 million naira church fraud? Now, Dakwa Abiodun approves Jola Osho as 10th Mapoli rector. Mapoli Muslim alumni congratulates new rector Jola Osho. Next is the Hope newspaper. Jubilation as Ondo workers collect 73,000 naira minimum wage. Civil servants applaud Aiyedatiwa. Inferno guts Akure furniture shop. Alleged defamation. Court remands rights activist Farotimi in prison. UK to deport Nigerian pastor over alleged £1.87 million fraud. And then above the masthead, new notes, how police officers allegedly stole 43.16 million naira. Kwara government demotes teacher over assault of core member. Nigeria, other African countries lose $50 billion to tax evasion. That's according to ATAF. Next is the Guardian newspaper. Antimicrobial Awareness Week. Antibiotics abuse worsens drug resistance. Claims 64,500 lives yearly. And then you see the infographics of the causes of antibiotic resistance. Then we have why NIN has not been effective in stemming kidnapping. MacArthur others lament loss of $200 billion to corruption in Nigeria. Tax reform bills. Senate bows to pressure, suspends hearings. NNPCL faults Falana, insists Port Harcourt refinery producing fuel. Oyo Osun residents will never allow APC back in power, Makinde says. Federal government earns 2.78 trillion naira taxes from telecoms, tech companies in H1. Above the mastheads, Zenith emerges Bank of the Year, Nigeria. Next is, and last but not least, is the Nation Sport Alive. Italian press, Lukaku better player than Osimhen. Salah taped to join Kane at Bayern. Arsenal make informal approach for Lille. Nadozie makes final 5. Chelsea plots for the €2 million Tony raid. Citizens end 7-game winless streak. Blues thrash 10-man Saints. That's about it for the newspapers up for review this morning.
All right. There you go now. All the stories up for review. Of course, we cannot exhaust them all, but these are just some of the prominent stories that are reflecting in the papers this Thursday. And as we always say, we urge you to go on and feed on all the information and not just run with the headlines.